Bitcoin closed the CME gap and crashed right after this close, and this is looking a little bit bearish if you ask me. But on the daily time frame, Bitcoin is giving us a huge warning signal, and this could be your last chance before we are going to see the big bull run for Bitcoin happening. In this video I will look at several time frames with you with Bitcoin, because there are a lot of interesting information coming into the market. I will also discuss a lot of interesting data with you, so you don't want to miss any of this. I'm also going to have a look at the two altcoins Bittensor TAO and XRP, but about that later in the video. So watch this video all the way to the end, like the video, and let's dive right into the charts. As I was discussing this CME gap with you for Bitcoin on my socials, I expected that Bitcoin was not going to trade very volatile during the weekend, and this is exactly what we saw. Bitcoin was trading around this CME gap of $65,804, and we opened this gap on Friday. We saw not a lot of volatility coming into the market, but now this morning we saw a close of the gap, and right after we saw a big crash to the downside. So this is looking a little bit more bearish, of course, in the short term, and we crashed all the way back to the $64,000. But if we have a look on the daily time frame, we can see a huge bullish retest is occurring for Bitcoin now. We can see this huge lower high structure for Bitcoin was unfolding, but now we created a new higher high, and we're now retesting this previous high into support again, because previously this was resistance. And if we're going to hold this support today, we can see maybe a bounce from Bitcoin from this level and create new higher highs. And of course, if we're going to see a bounce from this level, then this will be the new higher low structure for Bitcoin, and this would indicate a huge bullish trend reversal on the daily time frame. So for now, this $64,000 support needs to hold for Bitcoin in order to become a little bit more bullish. And of course, we could also see potentially a break of this level and then see a bearish move again. But we want to see this bullish bounce to the top side and eventually come to the next big resistance, and that will be around the $69,000. And this could also be your last warning for Bitcoin, that we're going to see a beautiful retest before the big bull run starts, and then we are going to see exponential moves to the top side. And the last couple of weeks for the Bitcoin ETFs were very interesting. We saw a lot of bullish inflows into the ETFs, and especially last week was a very bullish week for Bitcoin. So we also saw that the Bitcoin total cumulative inflow was making an all-time high, and the all-time high is now around the $19 billion. So let's see if we can see another 1 billion of inflows into the Bitcoin ETF, and that will bring us to the $20 billion mark. So I think that if Bitcoin is going to have a similar week like last week, which was very bullish, then we could see levels around the $70,000. And with this Monday morning dump, I'm already seeing a lot of people panicking because they are seeing a huge red candle after a lot of green candles. But I think there's nothing to be panicking about, because we now see a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support. So if this support is holding strong enough, we can enter the market in a bullish stage and see higher levels. And the big first resistance for Bitcoin will be around the $66,000, which was acting as resistance, as we can see here. We're now seeing a little bit of a rejection, but if we're going to see a huge bullish bounce from this level, we can maybe test it again and maybe break it to the top side. So if this happens, we will see just a continuation of the bullish uptrend, because from the lows we saw a lot of bullish uptrend, and now we're just aiming for higher targets, and we are seeing this huge retracement now. So this could be a last chance to enter the market for Bitcoin and maybe see exponential moves after. So this horizontal chart is very important to watch, as I'm always discussing with you on my socials, because there are a lot of horizontal resistance and support lines coming in, which are respected as usual. And now we are back at this huge horizontal line of the $64,000. So let's see if we can see a hold of this level, and if this level is strong enough to see a bounce to the top side again. Another very interesting chart I want to have a look at is this Bitcoin rainbow price chart. And in every last cycle we saw a huge bounce to the top side, but in this cycle we didn't see a bounce yet, and we are still in the stages of accumulate and buy, because we're still in this blue greenish area. So if Bitcoin can come back to this yellow stage, which is a very conservative target, then we will even see levels around $150,000. So this could be very bullish for, of course, for Bitcoin in the coming bull run. So let me know in the comments what you think about this rainbow chart, and if Bitcoin can reach prices above the $100,000 in the coming bull market. So if I'm looking at this chart, I am going to be very bullish, because we didn't see that spike to the top side yet, and we're still in the stages of accumulation. So this is your last chance to maybe buy into the market for Bitcoin. And last week I was discussing this chart with you on a daily time frame. We can see a lot of interesting resistance areas coming into the market because these were the previous highs for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. We first now broke through this huge horizontal resistance and we are now retesting it as support. And as I'm saying, I thought that we were going to see a retest of this resistance to turn it into support and then aim for the next big resistance. So if Bitcoin can see a bounce from this level, we could potentially come back to this $68,000 resistance. And after that, if we're coming to this level, we want of course to see a break to the top side, a retest of this resistance to turn it into support, and so on and so on. And then we can create a huge trend reversal on the daily time frame. So let's see if Bitcoin can see a bounce from this level, come back to this next big resistance around the $68,000, and that will be of course very bullish. And another very bullish Bitcoin chart I want to have a look at is this monthly chart. We can see a huge run up from the bear market lows to the top side, and now we're inside of this consolidation formation and we are very close to a huge breakout. So if this monthly consolidation is going to break out bullish, we will see the next exponential move to the top side for Bitcoin, and then of course we will create new all-time highs. And the previous all-time high is around the $73,500, so we could potentially break this in the next coming months. And of course the last quarter of the year is often the most bullish quarter of the year for Bitcoin. So let's see if Bitcoin can force a break to the top side and see those exponential moves on the way to the new all-time high. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Bittensor TAO. Bittensor TAO was in this huge falling wedge formation on the daily time frame, and I was expecting that we are going to see a huge bullish break. Bittensor TAO broke out of this huge formation, retested this previous resistance trend line as support, and then saw a big bounce from this support level again. We then saw this horizontal resistance was coming into play, and I was expecting that we will see a huge rejection from this level, and then we came all the way back to this lower side support, which was a very interesting place for TAO to enter the market. And as I was saying, I was buying at this green box of accumulation, and from there we saw a beautiful bounce to the top side. And of course, this is a very interesting bounce, and this is an insane trade. So if you bought at these lows, you were already up for 165%. So this is insane, of course. But as I'm always saying, I'm always buying at support and selling at resistance. So I've bought here, but I sold a little bit of my portion here. And of course I also sold a little bit of my portion on the next resistance, because I thought that we could maybe see a rejection from this next resistance, that we're going to see a bounce back to this support. But we didn't, because we just bounced to the top side. And also last week I was thinking that this resistance was a little bit too strong for TAO, and that we're going to see a retracement back to this level. But yesterday TAO decided to pump even harder, and now we are back at the levels around the $600. And as I was saying earlier in my videos, this huge falling wedge formation has a breakout target which was confluent with the top side of the formation, and that will be around the $725. So of course the breakout target hasn't reached yet, but we are now pumping to the top side, and this is looking very bullish for Bittensor TAO. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is XRP. On my socials I was talking about XRP and that we're going to see a huge breakout on the daily time frame very soon. And after this huge consolidation on the daily time frame with multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and on the lower side as support, we saw this huge breakout for XRP happening, and this is looking very bullish. And this confirmation is looking very strong because we can see 3 green candles outside of this consolidation formation, but we can expect maybe a little bit of a retracement to retest this resistance as support. And if you still want to enter the market for XRP in a long or just spot buy order, you can enter the market here on the retest and then aim for higher targets. And also if we have a look at the weekly time frame, it is looking very bullish for XRP, because we can see that XRP was already inside of this consolidation formation for 146 weeks, and now we are breaking it to the top side. So this huge weekly candle consolidation formation is finally breaking out to the top side. And this breakout target of this formation is the top side of this formation, which will be confluent with the 92 cents. So this is a very interesting gain to make for XRP. So if we're going to see a retracement back to this resistance area to turn it into support, this could be a very interesting place to enter the market in the long. And from the potential bullish retest, you could already make a 57% increase on XRP. So this is very insane, of course. So the breakout is already confirmed because we saw a weekly candle close above this huge trendline resistance. So let's see what is coming to be next for XRP in the coming days. So please give a like if you find this video useful. Follow me on my other socials, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.